Now it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the head of state received his letter of credence from different ambassador. The workshop to assess governance mechanism in the implementations of 2063 agenda. For the international scene, the ninth coronations and 18th Grand Slam title for Novak Djokovic. Welcome to our newsroom. The head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, received the credential of the new ambassador of United States, Mr. Jonathan Pratt. The ceremony was held at the Presidential Palace in the presence of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, spokesman of the government, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. After welcoming him, President Guelleh assured the new ambassador of the readiness of the Djiboutian authorities to assist him in the accomplishment of his mission by working towards the consolidation of ties of friendship and cooperation between the two countries. The U.S. diplomat Jonathan Pratt, for his part, stressed his willingness to work to advance the partnership between the two countries in many areas of common interest. During their discussion, both parties, who were pleased from the outset with the excellence of bilateral relations, raised several topics of common interest, including the opportunities of our countries offer to investors. Together, they gave a brief overview of the state of cooperation between the two countries. Still at the presidency, after the new American ambassador, it is around the new ambassador of Pakistan, Mr. Shazab Abbas. After the very formal and solemn ceremony of presentations of credentials, the president met with the ambassador. During this meeting, the president said that the Republic of Djibouti is pleased to maintain with Pakistan a strong and fraternal relations based on a community of Islamic values of tolerance, solidarity, and peace.
And I have the honor to present my credence to Your Excellency, the President of Djibouti, and also the recall letters of my predecessor.
Once finished, the president received the new ambassador of Netherlands, Henk Jan Baker. In these words, the new ambassador highlighted the importance his country is attached to cooperation with Djibouti on behalf of His Majesty King Milan Alexander. On my own behalf, I express my admiration for the remarkable achievements,
as well as the letter of credence, both letters signed by His Majesty King Willem-Alexander of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Thank you, sir.
Finally, the president received the letter of credence from the new ambassador of Poland, Mr. Przemysław Bobek. In the course of their exchanges, the new ambassador first conveyed to the president these warm greetings. He then expressed his gratitude to President Gele for accepting his appointment as ambassador of Poland to the Republic of Djibouti. The president invited the new ambassador to work further to consolidate and strengthen the warmest relations that have existed between the two brotherly countries for 2 decades. Finally, the president expressed to the ambassador his readiness to accompany him in his mission. In turn, the president received the credential of the new ambassador of Ireland, Ms. Nicola Brugger. At the end of an exchange with the president of the republic, the diplomat congratulated the number one of the republic for his visions, but also for his leadership. Further one she conveyed during the interview that followed the reception of her credential, the message of friendship and esteem. The head of state had a very friendly exchanges on relations and cooperation between the two countries. The president received at the Palace of the Republic the special envoy of the Secretary General for the Horn of Africa, Mr. Parfait Onanga Anyonga. During an audience, the discussion is focused on the political dynamics in the Horn of Africa, related issue but also the profound changes that this part of Africa is experiencing today. The head of state and the special envoy, Mr. Parfait Onanga Anyonga, gave an overview of the situation. They discussed the different political dynamics at the regional level. President Gele and Mr. Parfait Onanga Anyonga had an exchange of view on this new situation, which offers opportunities to accelerate discussions to strengthen regional cooperation among all countries in the Horn of Africa. President Gele and the special envoy came to the conclusion that in order to achieve a stable situation, it is important that this inclusive political process he launched with regional institutions such as IGAD and the participations of the condition. The impact of the dynamics on stability in the Horn of Africa was also on the agenda. Indeed, the challenges facing the region requires greater solidarity. The resident coordinators of the United Nations system, Barbara Manzi, attended the thanks, and on the Egyptian side, the diplomatic advisor of the head of state, Ms. Fathia Jama'uddin, and the director of multilateral department, Mr. Gelle Idris Umar, took part in this hearing. At the end of his talks with the head of state, Mr. Parfait Onanga Anyonga made a statement to the press. In his statement, he especially praised the valuable contributions that the president of Djibouti is making to the stability and economic integrations of the sub-region. The international community and the United Nations systematically seek the sound advice of President Gelle because of his illustrious merit in ensuring lasting stability in his country and his notorious and legendary readiness to offer good offices diplomacy to the dispute that arises in this part of the world, he said. Also at the Palace of the Republic, the head of state Ismail Omar Gelle received the visit of the mediator of the Republic, Mr. Qasim Isaka Osman, who came to officially hand over his annual activity report for the year 2020, a Republican exercise that fits perfectly with the framework of the missions assigned to the mediator as a body responsible for improving the relation of citizens with the administration, but by intervening in dispute between them through proposal for amicable settlement of their differences. The head of state, who gave a warm welcome to the distinguished visitors, followed with attention the statement of the mediator of the Republic, who was accompanied by his main collaborator. In front of the head of state, Mr. Qasim Isaac quickly gave an overview of the main activities of the mediator of the Republic during the past year. At the end of his meeting with the head of state, the mediator of the Republic, Dr. Qasim Isaac Usman, made a statement to the press. In his interventions, he expressed his satisfaction with the unceasing positive evolutions characterizing the work of the institution. And this situation is undoubtedly the results of the attention and unfailing support of the President of the Republic to our institution. He added instance devoted to the achievement of consensual agreement between the administration and citizens. The mediator of the Republic quickly acquired in Djibouti the reputations of effective structures of remission to the successive procedure of the course. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs for International Cooperation's APRM focal point is organizing in collaboration with the Continental APRM and other strategic partners this morning at Sheraton Hotel a workshop on the objectives of Sustainable Development 2020. The purpose of the event is to bring together representatives of the African Union, EU member state, APRM partners and civil society organizations to review the report entitled Assessing Governance Mediation Mechanisms in the Implementation of the African Union Agenda 2063 and Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development in Africa. The aim is to raise awareness of governance issue for the implementations of the two Agenda 2063 and 2030 by providing platforms for EU member state, African experts and APRM strategic partners. Mr. Osman Idris Jama, coordinating president of the APRM in Djibouti, recalled in his speech that the APRM was established in 2003 within the African Union's voluntary institutions to measure and improve the governance of the African states. Let us listen to the resident representative of the United Nations system in Djibouti, Barbara Manzi.
I think that there is one point I would like to make that is the most important for me and for Sarah, whom I met last year at the margin of APRM. United Nations, it's you. United Nations and African Union, it's all of us. United Nations and African Union are working together because at the end of the day, the Agenda 2030 and the Agenda 2063 have the same aim to make the world a better place for each and every one on the continent and in the world. So we are together on this effort. The second point I would like to make is the fact that the SDGs are interlinked, as you know very well, and are universal. There is no country in the world that is not undergoing this exercise, and that's because collective action is the only solution for the problems we have at hand. Problems that have been exacerbated by the pandemic. A lot of interlocutors have already spoke about that much more eloquently than I will right now, and each and every one of the country has had measures put in place to find solutions. From the Djibouti side, we have been working together with the authorities hand in hand, and I have to say that a number of the initiatives that have been taken, the fact that the response was done hand in hand by all aspects of the society under the leadership of the government was absolutely primordial and managed to give us some success.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, thanked the APRM Continental Secretariat for choosing Djibouti to host this important workshop.
We start by extending to you all a warm welcome to Djibouti.
It is indeed a great honor for Djibouti to host this very important workshop on the capacity building of APRM with regard to voluntary national review on the continent. The high-level political forum expected to be held during the course of this year is in the straight line of the upcoming milestone events aiming at the implementation of Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. Despite the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic, Djibouti's primary goal in hosting this workshop is to reaffirm its commitment to the objectives of APRM. And my country will be the first to undergo the exercise of the targeted assessment or evaluation by the peers soon.
The stadium Al-Hajj Hassan Guled Abtidon and facing a packed room was held the first General Assembly of the Djibouti of the Association Djibouti. Above all, the members of the association have succeeded in the challenges of bringing together all members of the association, many of whom are from the regions. In his speech, the Secretary General of the association, Fahdi Ali Awad, recalled the objectives of the association, which is essentially to promote a sense of patriotism among young people and participation in social sporting activities. For her part, the President, Ms. Zainab Aden Ainan, emphasized the patriotism and the activities to be undertaken, particularly for the withdrawal of voter cards, which remains a right and a civic duty. On these occasions were invited Alexis Mohamed, advisor to the President of the Republic, Mohamed Abdi Gedi, President of Civil Society, and other civil society personalities. The advisor to the President, Alexis Mohamed, spoke on these occasions and in view of the political context as an important electoral deadline approaches, it is only natural that everyone express their support for the candidacy of the head of state for the elections of April 2021. The Director General of the National Agency for Disabled Persons, Douale Saeed Mahmoud, met yesterday in his meeting office with the Secretary General of the Organizations for Educational Cooperation, Sheikh Mansour bin Musallam. During the meeting, the two parties discussed ways of cooperation between the two parties in the field of integrating teachers of children with disability. Mr. Douale Saeed Mahmoud stressed the common desires reflected in this meeting to establish a fruitful cooperation between the two parties, which at the same time reflects the directive of the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, his generations regarding meeting the needs of the disabled, realizing their aspirations and hope and enabling them to engage in all fields. As part of its continuing effort to advance the conditions of orphan segment, the regional office of the NGO Al-Rahma of State of Kuwait in Djibouti this morning has officially distributed the latest promotions of orphan sponsorship for the year 2020, which about 2,000 orphans in addition to 120 families have benefited. The distribution ceremony took place at the Rahma complex under the auspices of the Chargé d'Affaires of the Embassy of the State of Kuwait in Djibouti, Mr. Khalid Al-Hatham, in the presence of the regional directors of NGO, Abdul Ghani Ismail Al-Qurashi, the technical advisors to the Minister of Social Affairs Solidarity, Mr. Mahmoud Bile Ali. The event was also attended by the project managers of the NGO Al-Rahma, Ilmi Yusuf Daher, and the project managers, Mr. Khaled Abu Hagar, as well as a representative of the families benefiting from this aid, which amounts to a total of 100 million Djibouti francs. In turn, the Chargé d'Affaires of the Kuwait Embassy in Djibouti, Mr. Khalid Al-Hassam, expressed his great pleasure to participate in the distribution ceremony of the latest promotions of a sponsorship orphan for the year 2020. He praised the tireless efforts of the regional office of the Al-Rahma NGO to keep pace with the efforts of the Djiboutian government led by the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, to promote economic and social development and improve the living conditions of the most vulnerable segments of society. The Inspector General of the Health Services, Dr. Hassan Musa Hassan, co-chaired a meeting with the Secretary General of the Ministry of Commerce in the conference rooms of the Ministry of Health. This meeting comes in response to the results of the missions to assess the status of the drugs sold in private pharmacies initiated by His Excellency the Minister of Health in collaboration with his counterpart of the Department of Trade. The objective of this meeting was to put a working methodology to control drugs sold in private pharmacies in accordance with the national pharmaceutical policy in forces in the Republic of Djibouti, which states that on the national territories the improvement access to medicines and medical devices must be ensured to the entire population. Within the framework of the fight against illicit traffic of contraband goods of all kinds, the police officers of Ali Sabih, Mahdi Umar Jama detachments have undertaken vast operations to put an end to these kinds of illicit activities. This operation has led to the seizures of 30 parcels of cat and several cartons of Yemeni milk. As part of the community health program, a mobile team from Tujura Medical Hospital centers moved yesterday to the We'ima sector. This team, led by the Dr. Ibrahim Dimbio, was composed of midwife and nutritionists and ophthalmologist technicians, nurses, and vaccination agents. The team crisscrossed the Great We'ima, going door to door to provide on-site consultations for adults, consultations and vaccinations for children, consultations for pregnant women, and screening for malnutrition while distributing impregnated mosquito nets and promoting hygiene. It should be noted that these times the mobile teams outing was carried out with the help of the associations which can work for the well-being of the population of We'ima. More than 300 consultations were carried out. For his part, the chief doctor of the Tujura, Dr. Ibrahim Dimbio, said these types of activities are part of proximity health policy that is implemented by the Ministry of Health. For their part, the population of We'ima made a point of thanking the Minister of Health, His Excellency Muhammad Warsama, for the travels of the mobile team, which allows them to have access to care and free treatment at home. We have just learned the death of Mr. Ahmed Abu Bakr, which occurred the day before yesterday in Dubai. The deceased Ahmed Abu Bakr studied law at the Al-Azhar University. He served as a judge of Sharia al-Islamiyya in Abu Dhabi until his retirement in 1990s. The deceased was a well-known and appreciated personality in the business community in the United Arab Emirates, Djibouti, and Somalia. Known for his honesty and availability, he was appreciated by all those who were enough to cross his path. His disappearance leaves a void in the business community in Dubai and Djibouti, sharing the pain. Mr. Baragoita Saeed, Mr. Gamaluddin, and Mr. Abdul Malik Muhammad Banoita address their most saddened condolence to the family of the deceased Ahmed Abu Bakr and pray the good God to welcome him in his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, world number one Novak Djokovic won his record-breaking third Australian Open and 18th Grand Slams titles by defeating Russia Damil Medvedev force in this set 7-5-6-2-6-2 in less than 2 hours on Sunday in Melbourne. The 38-year-old Serb who are prepared to be on the verge of dropping out in the third round due to an abdominal injury, recovered from the injury. He is now 2 Grand Slams record trophies away from the Grand Slam record held by Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. The last 2 weeks have been a roller coaster ride for me, Djokovic said. I want to thank the Rod Laver's Arena. The love stories continues, he added. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.